If I start telling people about hell, I might just scare them off. Where are you going to scare them off to? Hell number 2? Or are you just going to sit there and let them burn?
This is Chris from Don't Let Them Burn. Don't forget to check out don'tletthemburn.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and support the ministry, support both of our channels here. Today, we're back with William Ramsey on the trail of Jeffrey Epstein and his deviant arts. If you didn't check out the last program, you might want to backtrack because it was full of information, very dense and awesome. So as we move, welcome everyone in the chat, wherever you are, say hi, and we're going to get moving now. So William, for those that don't know you, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I was a writer. I've written 5-6 books. Did a small book called Crowley, A Visual Study. And I've done 5 documentaries, and my podcast is William Ramsey Investigates. But I've been following this Jeffrey Epstein drop since it dropped, or the final drop of the files happened in January 30th. And one thing I keyed into is these kind of oddities in the pictures and stuff. And so that's why I've done this presentation, which I'm titling Jeffrey Epstein's Deviant Art, or the Deviant Art of Jeffrey Epstein, because I think it provides an insight into his personality. So that's why I've had this with 200 slides. And I think there's a lot more to the story. Like there's on a broader definition of art, it could include film and maybe comedy and also other video games, because he's involved in video games as well. So I think that there's a lot of pieces. He was involved in he had many tendrils to his empire, octopus empire, so to speak. So this is just one of them. And he was heavily involved in art. And I think we showed in the last one, like he was thinking about making an expenditure in $20 million to acquire the gates of hell. So we've seen that kind of deviant with the Massacre of the Innocents too, which I think you read Matthew 2.
Yeah,
it's one of the darker chapters of the scripture. So it's pretty intense. He was not interested in, I've said this before, like in pastorals or like kind of impressionist beauty or Van Gogh or something like that. He had dark tastes or deviant tastes.
Yeah, and that's pretty, as we discussed last time, pretty common in the art community.
It's becoming that way, right? So he was not alone for sure. And I think this next series of slides will indicate that and show that he is all he was very close to other very popular artists and people that we've maybe seen in music, like Metallica and things like that.
Yeah. So I don't know, I noticed the face, but I can't remember who this guy is.
His name is Andres Serrano, like the chili. So it's Serrano. And he was infamous for this painting that really lit up the traditional media. It was called PISS Christ. I mean, it's really dark stuff, but he was into all this kind of things that's very tied into occult, which is kind of fixation on human bodily fluids. And so that's it. But he had a personal relationship to Epstein. I don't know how else to characterize it, but there's one of these, I think I have this in these slides, is that he sent an email to Epstein from Cuba saying, hey, can you lend me $5,000? So he knew Epstein close enough to ask him for a loan.
Right.
So I think, and also like commission art from him. And actually Serrano's kind of important to Epstein because we'll see in these slides, there's a connection between him, Epstein, and Trump. And also, he took the last known picture of Epstein in 2019 before he was put into jail at the Metropolitan Correctional Center.
Yeah. Strange connections.
Really strange, yeah. I mean, and this is kind of an... They also had one of the odd things about Epstein that people may not know was his interest in religious Christian artifacts. For a Jewish guy who... there's no evidence that he went to synagogue. Like I don't see that. There's not a lot of elements of him being very, very much a practicing Jew. But it's interesting that he decorated his place with crucifixes, and he had an interest in exchanging some statuary with Serrano about, I think, a praying person or Mary praying or something like that. I don't recall exactly.
It's almost similar to what the Nazis did. They took things from everywhere, you know, and some of it were Christian artifacts.
Agreed. So it is, and sometimes that is intentional sacrilege too. Like there
Yeah.
is sacrilege in Epstein that's very dark. There was one email, you probably know about it, or some the audience does, or the chat. But like there was this, he was talking to about one of the victims who said, "Everything's going to be okay." This victim said to him, "Everything's okay. I'm friends with Jesus, and that'll be all right." And then somebody joked about it and said, "Hey, maybe you should show up next time, look, in a costume of Jesus." And then Epstein said, "Whoops!" Like he thought it was funny.
Right, right. And that's another through line for some of these artists today. Jesus Christ Superstar, the woman, I can't remember her name right now, but she was the one of the stars in the movie Wicked, and then she did Jesus Christ Superstar. Now she wants to play Rogue in X-Men, but she's a witchy poo, a lesbian witchy poo. Okay.
That makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense these days. So I think it goes back to this drawing power from sacrilege or subversion. That's kind of what it is. And I think everything Epstein touched was kind of subversive in a very negative way. Everything.
Yeah. Let's see what we got next.
So this is kind of maybe what people don't know who Andres Serrano is, but this is his work that Metallica used for one of their album covers. So those are bodily fluids. And there's another one too. So I think I have that other album cover.
This one.
That's another one. So this is like Blood and Urine, and that's on a different album cover by Metallica. If you go to the next one, yeah, it's for Reload. So Serrano was involved. He had public art. He was kind of one of these he's still alive. He's one of those artists who had showings all around the world. So he'd do these things in Ireland or Europe and around the States. So he was kind of a popular, I think, or is a popular, and a lot of stuff, very dark topics like, transgressive, I think, type material. I think it's fair to say.
Yes. Gross.
So this is the infamous picture that he did. Definitely sacrilege. This is called PISS Christ. So you see that kind of interest in these artifacts, religious artifacts or iconography, and then transgressing them. So
yeah.
And so this is just a picture of one of his works that was done at the Edward Taylor Nahum Fine Art Studio from 2012. And it's the Pieta, but it's also, covered in urine. It's basically it.
Gross.
This is something that he and it is a Madonna, so it is something that he and Jeffrey wanted in exchange for. And they got the sculpture in 2018. So they exchanged it for no money. But I think it's an insight, and I think we may have talked to it 2 weeks ago when we covered this, was that these guys use art for value transference. And sometimes it's not stated on the ledger, the value. So something may have happened as like this is exchanged in payment. But it was from a really interesting article that covered the relationship between Serrano and Epstein in Vanity Fair, which is a pretty well-known magazine. So
yeah, major trade there. Let's see here. Okay. Madonna and the last known portrait of Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, so that's it right there. That's the thing I was talking about, is the artist, the Madonna, the last known portrait. So it's from 2022, but that's Serrano holding skulls, and then that Madonna was from this article. And we'll see the portrait of Epstein that he took, and they had some kind of arrangement to do that. And Serrano titled the picture of Epstein "Notorious," and the kind of the walls were closing in on Epstein. If you remember, go back to that time, the Julie K. Brown articles were released in late 2018, and that kind of set off a firestorm of interest. And actually, I think, if I remember correctly, the grand jury about Epstein was convened in New York right around that time, 2018. And that's what led up to his arrest.
Yeah. So what do you think? I don't know for sure. I have an idea, but what do you think that symbolism is with the two skulls?
Well, it references maybe Hamlet, because Hamlet did that whole soliloquy about Yarick or whatever. So it may be that, some kind of classical illusion.
Yeah.
But also, skulls have a lot of like symbolism of death. And I think we went over the crystal skulls last time, right? Didn't we do that?
Yeah.
So maybe it has some other kind of esoteric. What's your take?
And I could be totally wrong, but to me, it represents the yin and the yang, male and the female. I'm not sure if it's fusion of opposites, but that's what rings out to me. And I could be wrong.
I do want to show you this intro. It'll just take a second, but it's a really this is one of the victims, but what she says here is really incredible. I just want to play it for you in the audience. If you haven't seen this yet, this is somebody who's associated with Virginia Giuffre, if you remember. But listen, it's just a short clip, but listen.
I was told by Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine's waiting for you upstairs in the bedroom and she wants to show you something. He immediately began brainwashing me. Had helicopters chase me, cars chasing me. Recently, I thought drones outside of my living room. I sincerely believe that this is what Jeffrey Epstein was truly doing here on this planet. He was bringing back hell on Earth.
Hey guys.
There's a lot to unpack right there. Brainwashing, surveillance, and that Jeffrey was trying to bring back hell on Earth. This is somebody who knew Jeffrey Epstein and was abused by Epstein personally. So just wanted to share. That's from a TMZ interview from 2 months ago. So sorry about that.
Interesting words. Wow.
Bring back hell on Earth. And when you look at this stuff, like how he was interested in the Massacre of the Innocents and Gates of Hell, and this guy Serrano, we can perceive that he was involved in very dark stuff.
Yeah.
And you'll see this at the very end of these slides. I got something special for you that nobody else has seen yet. So people have to wait for this. And I know you're an artist, like you're an accomplished artist. So I think that this is like the ideal presentation for you too, because there's so much stuff going on with this guy, art-wise.
Let's see here.
So that's the last photo of Epstein taken, and you can see there it's called Infamous there at the bottom.
Yeah,
he's 66 at the time, so he got away with a lot of stuff for his life in his lifetime. For decades of like criminal behavior. One of the interesting things about Serrano is that in 2004 he did a series about Trump. So even before Trump, I think, really started his political career, he did something called Ego, or this whole thing. So if you read this, I have a strong stomach. Artist Andres Serrano explains why he spent $200,000 on Trump steaks and other Trump memorabilia. So a substantial sum of money. This article is from 2019, but that picture of Trump in the back was also taken by Serrano.
Okay.
So he's kind of like what do they call it when it's like a portraitist of the stars or the infamous people or notorious people.
And the ego makes sense.
So this is an interesting article. It got a lot of stuff off of artnet.net. It's actually, or .com. It's really, as somebody who I don't have any artistic talent, but they were really interested in the art of Epstein and the people surrounding him. There's a lot of great articles.
Oh, okay. And this guy, Epstein. I haven't seen anything that, not much of what he actually did. But
Epstein did. What do you mean, Serrano or Epstein? In what way?
Serrano, I'm just seeing his stuff now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We could do a whole nother show on him because I think he would fall right in with Abramovich, like something like her. I don't know what his personal life is like, but the stuff he's done, like dead bodies, war type stuff. So I think this transgressive theme is very pronounced with him in particular.
Certainly. Let me see here. Oh, this is boom.
So that's just another screenshot from this article.
Mm-hmm.
Just showing. I'm just showing that it's a weird connection between Serrano and Epstein and Trump.
Yeah.
And Trump I don't think Trump sued over this, so I'm assuming he allowed himself to have his picture taken, which I think I'll see in one of these later slides. Yeah. Oh, this is something he took Donald and Melania's wedding cake, so he bought that. And the title of his art presentation was "The Game: All Things Trump" or "All Thing Trump."
Oh, okay.
So that's a piece of his wedding thing, and you see MTD, so Donald and Melania Trump.
I'm wondering what's that in the background.
Well, that's a good question too. I don't know.
Oh boy. All right.
So this is the one he took of Trump, 2004.
Yeah, pretty famous picture there. Weird angle. Very weird angle.
Just
Kinda-
curious.
Kind of warped, but yeah.
This is another really interesting piece, moving on to another connection in the art world to Jeffrey Epstein's guy by the name of David A. Ross. And he was the SVA chair. I think that was a modern art gallery in New York, but he was also the former director of the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, which is a pretty high-end museum, I would say, in San Francisco. But he wrote to Epstein saying, "I'm still proud to call you a friend." But this article doesn't encapsulate some of the other stuff that I found in some of the emails between them both, which we can go into, which bring up this whole theme of pedophilia and abuse and even entrapment.
Yes. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat here, but it's like, I mean, it's obvious, but maybe not obvious to everyone. But like you said, the tendrils, they just go everywhere.
And if you look in the background, you see that little blue and white kind of motif that we'll see later on in the slides. That is what they used for the temple on the island.
Yeah.
And also in the background of DeGeneres' show, if you remember,
Mhm.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, DeGeneres or whatever.
DeGeneres, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Interesting. I didn't see the lines until you pointed it out.
There's more to that picture. I would like to see more. We can go into this article, but if you kind of skip forward to the there's just other things. Glad the nightmare is over, Jeff, said Ross. It was an undeserved punishment foisted upon you by jealous creeps in 2009. The other thing is that, do you know that the original filing against Jeffrey Epstein had 60 counts?
No.
So that in 2007, there were 60 counts and he only got convicted of one. So this is like unfoisted creep. And going back and looking at, because we have all the documents now in one place. I don't know if they were as readily available as they were until these recent Epstein Files Transparency Act, but like some of the stuff in the background's incredible. Like what it made to the public was completely different than what was going on. Like it was a huge case and a lot of stuff.
And again, it reminds me of the P. Diddy case as well. He was charged with so many counts and only got a couple of guilty on a couple of them.
Yeah, there you go. I had a dream with you, and it said this guy Ross. We can push ahead for the future, but we need to secure enough time to right partner moving forward. 2010 email suggests Epstein tune in to the to see Ross's appearance at the Colbert Report. So if you go to the next one, some of these, and there was a really interesting article that dropped 2 days ago, by the way, about this cover-up that was happening. And somebody leaked really amazing material about all these people arguing, Bongino, Patel, Bondi, and all this stuff. And I did a show about it yesterday titled Anatomy of a Cover-Up, so people can check that out. But here's one of these emails between Epstein and this guy Ross, who's a kind of has to be seen as an art bigwig, is fair. Yeah. But Jeffrey, it is depressing to see how you're once again being dragged through the mud. I'm proud to still call you a friend. I know you're strong, but still, hope we can catch up. This is from 2015, and the subject is sad. He's sad. And then maybe the next one.
Okay.
So maybe if you want to read that. This is from Epstein himself to this guy. I just showed his picture with the horizontal lines. Maybe if you feel like reading that, that'd be great.
Roman Polanski, attorney, are coming to see me. I might want to fund an exhibition entitled Statutory, Girls and Boys ages 14 to 25, where they look nothing like their true ages. Juvenile mugshots, Photoshop, makeup. Some people go to prison because they can't tell true age. Controversial, fun. Maybe it should be a web page with hits tallied.
Right. So this is a tie into another convicted pedophile. Polanski was convicted and fled the country before sentencing. This is way back, I think, in the 70s. Yeah. That's a whole nother show. But his attorneys are coming to his house in 2009, which is like 30 years after Polanski's conviction. And then he's saying he wants to find an exhibition called Statutory, right? That's the word used in like statutory rape and stuff. Right. Girls and boys. But here he is. He's trying to elicit or entice people to get entrapped. Mm-hmm. Some people go to prison because they can't tell the true age. So what he's telling this guy Ross is like, let's put like bait out, like literal jail bait is a word for it. Like jail bait, like some of these people could go to jail, but we'll make it intentionally vague about their true age, right?
Talk about entrapment.
Yeah, so he's like trying to pollute. He's trying to ruin other people's lives. Mm-hmm. You know, if you got that on your record or something like that, like whatever, you know, it just shows his corrupting forces or influence, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said to somebody that walks up to touch, a female's butt, they didn't do it because they're just brave. They've done it before and got away with it. And it's the same that applies here. Why would you do this? Because you're getting away with it the whole time.
Right. I think he's been involved in a trafficking, pedophile enterprise at this point in 2009, probably for over 10 years, maybe 20 years is fair. Yeah. From early 90s, even before that. He was born in 53. So you have to kind of remember, like, and he was able to avoid sentencing. He had like people in his pocket. It sure seemed like that. Like, how could you get away with it for so long?
Right. And kind of still getting away with it in the grave.
No doubt. To this day. The network is still alive and functioning. I don't think it would happen by our last show, but the whole Suzanne thing, the island and Kushner and Ivanka, right? Did that happen? It happened last week, right?
I think so.
With the Albania. So I don't think we covered it, but like those are like core members of the Epstein network, in addition to Lutnick and stuff like that. So they're trying to set up a new island in Europe. And those people should be really concerned because that place already has tunnels built and all this stuff, Sazan, which is really off the coast of Albania. It's like a nexus point for the whole Balkans, South Mediterranean, South European continent. It's something else.
It's just crazy what these people put up.
It is crazy.
Nuts, man.
It's nuts. It's bananas.
And what's, I don't think people understand how big the Earth is, because you could do this in all sorts of remote places on Earth. 70% of the Earth is not explored. 70%. And within that 70% of the Earth is water, right? So there's all sorts of places you could do this stuff. So, I mean, but they choose obviously populated areas to grab and take and, extradite.
I think so. And then they can run all their things. Their human trafficking. There's it seems to be a lot of organ trafficking, experimentation, and people disappearing. And I do think Jeffrey Epstein was a cannibal. Like, I really have come to that conclusion. I'm 95% sure at some point or other he's eating something. And there's babies missing, like infants being taken. So, like, it's heavy. It's not, this is like dark magic, Mystery Babylon stuff. Like, it's super dark.
Did you see the movie Fresh?
No, but tell me about it.
It's about an elite club, and they
I think you told me about it one of the last shows, right? Was it a recent film?
This one is about 3 years old.
Okay.
And they make filet mignon out of people.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie's a little bit deeper than that, but this is the through line with these people: Abramovich and Katy Perry and this Miley Cyrus. It comes back to this cannibalism theme, and the fact that people are more into the zombie witchcraft stuff now. They're able to accept it and not bat an eye. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we see something like that, we'd be like, what is going on? But here we are.
It's not believable. I think that's what people's like the way that the Cezanne or the Albanian island stuff was spun is like, oh, these rich people are coming in with money. I think that the locals probably have been informed, like, these are vampires, dude. Like, you're literally having vampires off the coast. Like, why would you want that? So, hats off to the Albanians for protesting in the streets. There are massive protests. Like, they filled the street. It almost reminded me of the protest. They were called the White Night or the White Scarf protest that happened over the Dutroux affair in Brussels, because so many people, like, there were lousy prosecutions, just like Epstein. And people just marched in the streets, and 300,000 for Brussels or for Belgium. It's a lot of people.
Right.
300,000 people march in the streets in all white.
And with the Albanian protest there, and before I say what I have to say, I'm not a Jew basher, okay? They were going house to house, kicking out Jews. This week, I believe.
In Albania?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't see that part of the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Well, these two guys are Jewish. So this goes, this continues. So you just read that bottom part 1 on October 1st, 2009. And then later on in that day, an hour and a half later, I think he writes back to David Rice, writes to Epstein. This is after his conviction. You are incredible. This would be a very powerful and freaky book. Do you know that total porno commercial kitty picture of blank that Richard Prince appropriated for an exhibition in the early 1980s? Are you traveling? Let's talk today. I'll call you. So he writes that at 9:00. Within 4 minutes, Jeff sends back an email. Yes, they closed it off in the London show. So he's very well informed about what happened with this guy, Richard Prince, and blank, who gets blanked out, right?
Yeah.
And then Ross, the guy in the picture that we mentioned earlier, or I mentioned earlier, writes back to Jeff later on in the day. And yes, this should be a web-based exhibition, totally global and totally open as a 2.0 platform for the granting or ranting of everybody, or the granting. So they went from this exhibition to a web-based thing, right? So they could be global. But the interesting thing is, there's other emails. You can figure out who Richard Prince is in this porno commercial kitty picture. So, and this was big news. Like, I'm old enough to remember this whole story. If you go to the next one, this was a huge story. This is a very young, this is a prepubescent Brooke Shields in heavy duty makeup, like burlesque makeup. And there's the name Richard Prince. And this is like this photograph that they used an art display at the Tate. Like, this is like the breaking down of the taboo against pedophilia. So they both knew it. So Epstein and this guy Ross knew. But I think the response of Epstein within 4 minutes is like he knew exactly what Ross was talking about. And Epstein really did have a pretty good understanding of the whole Lolita book and mythos. So I think that's true. So,
and for people that don't know, Brooke Shields was in a movie where they were young as hell called The Blue Lagoon. And pretty much, you know, I was a kid when this came out, so I know better. But people around me would watch it, and obviously I watched it with them. But now that we get context and what it was like back then for that sort of movie to come out, is the first of its kind, and the public ate it up, especially on cable TV.
They were like scantily clad, the boy and the girl, right, on a deserted island.
Yes.
She was also sexualized or something. She doesn't look 15 to me, but she was in another picture by Calvin Klein too, or another ad where she was clearly like in a Lolita something. Like, she's clearly young. She wasn't 18, that's for sure. That I could add that to this presentation. My point is that Epstein knew, and Ross lost his job over these emails too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
just more deviant art.
What's this?
It just shows, here's the EFTA there. So there's the number. People can just check this out. EFTA 018-18546. It's in the files.
And this is, sorry, something's in my way here. All right. You want me to read this one?
I don't. I want you to go to the next one. I just read this one out. Well, actually, go back for a second. Sorry. The reason I have this in here is that it shows in these files, there's duplicate files, and some are redacted and some aren't. So the one that I showed you earlier had Brooke Shields' name redacted, and this one doesn't.
Okay.
That was the point. Sorry about that. So this is George Alvarez. He's another artist. He writes, Crown of Thorns, but he did a pretty unusual thing called like Coming of Age that was put in Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. I call it the Mansion from Hell, but this guy's around. You can go to his website. I guess he's in Miami, but this painting has a lot to unpack. Like, there's seems to be a lot of meanings into it, and it's on the next page, I think. Next slide.
Okay.
So this is it. This is Art News again, another great resource for all this stuff. And the painting is an actual picture from Epstein's house. And it's a huge house, but it's called the Coming of Age Ceremony, right? So that's like a ritual or something like that.
Right.
And that's the actual size. So it's like a full wall. I think it's commissioned, a full wall picture like that.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
You can go to the next ones because there's a clear.
Okay.
This is actually the picture taken when they raided the mansion, and the reason we know that because it has the SDNY in white there on the bottom. So they came in and then they redacted the faces for some reason. The other pictures don't. So some of these redactions, you kind of wonder, like, do you know something more than we do? Are these actual real people?
Right.
I don't know, but this is a real picture taken by the cops or the law enforcement.
Yeah. Sick, man.
So this is it. I put that circle over because the boy is
right.
There's nudity, but there's also this one little mirror there. So the scrying theme is there, possibly. But the background picture maybe is just as important as what's in the foreground, which is some kind of like banshees or ecstatic dancing by a bunch of females. I don't know, maenads. I don't know.
Doves.
Doves. Trumpets.
Is that a snake? A snake head or a snake? Or
some type of
at the bottom
crocodile or I don't know. Yeah.
I make it up.
Lizard. Um,
And it looks like, I mean, these are exotic people
I would
from,
agree with that. Like, yeah,
yeah,
they don't look like Westerners or Europeans, I guess.
yeah,
And the head, you know, this cowl or whatever you call it around their necks,
yeah,
very kind of like African, maybe.
yeah. Well, oh, it looks like, I mean, I could be wrong on the first one. There's one sitting down there with the mirror, looks sort of Aztecish. And the brown, the darker brown person, yeah, African. I'm not sure about the other two.
Why at the red foot? Why is there red feet on these women? And
Oh, yeah.
there's something behind. Like, I think there's a darker skinned African person behind the one holding the mirror,
Yes, I
and you'll
see.
see the feet out, so it's not obvious at first glance. But it's almost, it reminds me of Black Star, actually. This video by David Bowie, where he juxtaposes like white and black people next to each other. It kind of seems like this too. And the laurels have kind of usually have some type of meaning, like accomplishment, like the Romans when you were, you know, not a crown of thorns, but like when you won, they would put that thing of laurels over their head or whatever.
Oh,
Because you see the one boy in the middle, he's holding that, right?
yeah.
He's holding that circle of green leaves.
Wreaths.
Wreaths, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Doves represent like the Holy Spirit, but they also have a sex magical representation. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
And
well,
Crowley used it, yeah.
I know I keep referencing music, but remember P. Diddy used to always release those doggone doves in his videos, and then we find out that he worships a voodoo goddess, and that's what it really called back to. It's really interesting.
Makes perfect sense. So it's like they have their own esoteric, you know, meaning, and the exoteric is like, oh, it's a beautiful animal, it's a beautiful dove,
Right.
represents life or the spirit or something. He's like, no, this represents the queen, mother, goddess of Africa or sub-Saharan Africa, something weird, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, it's just a weird picture.
Mhm.
There it is. Epstein owned a coming of age ceremony. Like, it's, I mean, a coming of age too was kind of like a pedophilic theme too.
Yeah.
Like he's coming to boy. It's a boy too, and there are stories of boy victims. So this whole kind of, I mean, I think majority of them were female, but there's a couple stories of men being or teen boys being trafficked.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just more pictures, you know. That's a much clearer picture, like a full picture. I think that's from Alvarez's website.
That looks like a serpent, man.
It reminds me of some of the wall paintings that were at Comet Ping Pong, if you remember.
Yeah.
They had kind of like this, like an ecstatic dance, like witch thing. I don't know. But the tie-ins between this stuff and which we'll see. I mean, wait till we get to the end. I don't know which slide this is.
Come on. This is 29 now. I just
Okay. Well, I've got about another 30, 40 slides.
Oh, that's
because I do have a tie-in. I do have a tie-in to
okay.
Comet Ping Pong.
The thing is pretty huge there. 6 foot. Yeah. Massive mural. And the stuff in the background, I know you said a banshee, and that would be on the one on the left, right? The woman in the left.
I'm totally speculating. I don't know what this represents.
I can't. I don't know. To me, I mean, again, I could be wrong on this, but to me, it looks like hellfire. Maybe it's the same bodily fluid motif. I don't know.
There is the white and then the red kind of whatever. If you see a chalice in there, that would be a real giveaway.
Yeah,
that's what Crowley used as like the opposite of the dove. But I'm trying to remember, like there was this thing from ancient Greece, and these guys love that, is this reference to old Greek, and there was something called the Maenads who would like travel around in groups, and they would get really drunk and like kill people, like almost like witch groups, you know. And that's what comes to my mind. I don't, there's no overt thing to that, but even like This is something, a Maenad, female followers of Dionysus. That's what they're called.
Uh-huh.
And this is like something you would be interested in because you've gone into this kind of Greek references. With the most significant members of his retinue, their names: to rave, to be mad, to rage, to be angry, literally translates to raving ones.
Mm.
They're in Roman after the penchant of the equivalent Roman god Bacchus. There's that huge picture of Bacchus in one of Epstein's rooms. He looks like an old kind of prophet, but it's really Bacchus.
Yeah.
Often the Maenads were portrayed as inspired by Dionysus into a state of ecstatic frenzy through a combination of dancing and intoxication. So that's what it looks like to me. During these rites, the Maenads would dress in fawn skins and carry a thyrsus, a long stick wrapped in ivy or vine leaves and tipped with a pine cone. So you see those vine leaves, at least ivy and vine leaf themes there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They would weave ivy wreaths around their heads and often handle and wear snakes.
And that serpent is down there at the bottom. There's a serpent, bro.
So maybe this boy here, he is going to get his wreath, or that's why the little guy on his knees there in the center is holding that, because those are ivy or vine leaves. You see a pine cone in there. And maybe the Red Foot has another one, a Red Foot Club or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, you didn't say this particularly, but it just reminds me of just stepping in blood, some sort of ritual, some blood ritual.
It makes sense to me. Like this is like a depiction of the Maenads. This is just from like, here's another one. Like here's the clothes. I mean, when you look at these pictures of what a Maenad is, you kind of get that feeling in the background. There's the pine cone, the dancing, the wreaths, the animals.
Yeah.
The wreaths. See, here they are dancing around Dionysus.
And some wreaths, I don't know if this is the same idea, but some of the wreaths are another representation of the vagina.
There you go. So there's their stick with this thing at the end. Pine cone. Maybe those are pine cones or inverted pine cones. I don't know.
Certainly an interesting study.
Yeah. So there's the Maenad. But there's like, let me see if I can find the Crowley's Hymn to Pan, because that's what kind of comes to mind. Because that he writes about it. And I've heard rumors that the word rave comes from this.
Yeah.
It comes from this background.
Yeah.
And I have never confirmed that, but that's how it kind of came into common parlance.
Yeah. Because, you know, a lot of these people draw from the past anyway. And Bacchus was one of the god of a rave type event. So
this is probably Crowley's best known poem. And at the end it says, I rave and I rape and I rip and I rend, everlasting world without end, mannequin, maiden, Maenad, right, which we just discussed, man, in the might of Pan, Iopan, Iopan, Pan, Iopan. So it's like,
oh, and Pan, for people that don't know, is a very deviant devil. He is Satan, but he's in the form of a half man, half goat, and he's very sexual. He will have sex with anybody, and that's why Crowley looked up to that dude too.
Makes perfect sense. So it's like, anyway, there's a lot to unpack just on this one picture.
Yeah,
that's what I can say.
Yeah,
but like you've done all those kind of Greek references too, in that one we did with Diogenes or whatever it was.
Yeah. All right.
That's the signed copy of the art by Alvarez. And then it's interesting. I think it was saved, but it just like, I think the next one is just showing the wall mural for Transpo.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of this stuff, so it's saved and it's put into these lockers and stuff like that. So it's not, it's probably wrapped around that white thing at the bottom for transpo and reuse, but it's probably in some locker, gathering value, I guess. I don't know, but it's somewhere around. So
Yeah. Okay.
this is the picture. A lot of this is redacted, but I found the actual real picture of, they call it the little shrimp. And this was in his kitchen at either Little St. James or Palm Beach. I can't remember, but it is just very strange that this would be it, what he would put on his wall.
Right. Yeah. I have pictures of when my daughter was younger. I would never put those pictures on my wall.
I wouldn't either.
It's so strange. No.
And it's kind of like a phallus too. The shaker kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
And in a sink, which kind of connotes something different, like it's not a pool or a bath or something.
Right.
But this is often redacted in all these other ones, so I was able to see it. And it would be even stranger if in the background that's a fridge, because then that would be, it would tie into this notion of jerky that they have in the fridge.
Right.
Because that does look like a handle to me
Mm-hmm.
on the upper right hand side of the picture.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So this is kind of the insider kind of stuff.
Oh, I think I know what that is. I think that might be the shower.
Well, that might be creepier too then. I don't know. Maybe creepier than a fridge. Yeah, the whole thing is weird. This is like, why would you want to do that? And it's an insight into character, right? So
yeah.
Somebody said towel bar in the chat. I think that's good. Yeah.
All right. So
there it is. That's the picture of the kitchen. I don't know if I put it into this set, but there are pictures of Jeffrey around that little table on the right. And there's one where some girl is like down on her hands and knees doing God only knows what. I don't really know.
This is a bigger context here. Look at the size of that picture. That thing's massive. The baby picture.
It sure is.
Oh. I don't know why you would want to look at that all the time.
I don't either.
And every time you come into the kitchen, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, when you look at, I think the art theme is really important with Epstein, because when you look at the totality, the picture after picture after picture after picture, it paints a pretty clear portrait of his internal mindscape. Like, I'm not like really selecting stuff out, because there are some pictures I could do stuff about, pictures of his famous friends, but most of the art has this angle to it that is unpleasant. There just isn't something like from like, one of the great French impressionists or something.
Kelly Nora said this: people wash babies in sinks, but it isn't Jeff's baby.
Right.
Crazy. That is crazy. All right, what do we got next here? Oh,
this is just like some of the redactions that you'll see, so you don't get a clear picture.
Oh, same.
Just giving you an idea. These are EFTA files. You can see the numbers there, guys. So they've been taken multiple times. Like, these pictures have been taken. This is sideways, but the redactions are interesting.
Oh, okay, I see.
This is the picture I was talking about. So here's Jeff. I don't know who these two people are, but there's a redacted girl on her hands and knees shining somebody's shoes. I don't know. But that's Epstein there on the left.
Looks like one of those humiliation rituals.
Yeah. He'd like to, and I think this is consistent, is that he'd like to put women in kind of objectified stances and things like this. And I went through it like with my first Epstein. I noticed a theme, but we're going to see something at the end of this one that nobody's seen before, and it'll further validate that they like this, like you said, humiliation ritual type thing.
Yeah.
This is on to a new one. This guy's name is Jean Pigozzi. He's an interesting guy. He's listed in the files. He's listed in the emails, but he's also kind of a famous figure in his own right. And he's friends with Epstein. He's also friends with the Edge Foundation. If you remember, the Edge Foundation was this thing that was going on in Silicon Valley, where all these rich guys were pictured with Epstein at times, or pictured just at the edge. So it was like Musk, the founders of Google, Nathan Myhrvold, who was the number 3 at Microsoft. It's just like all these big people from YouTube. The list goes on, but Pigozzi was there, and he calls himself here. This is an article fairly recent, November 7th, 2025. The father of the celebrity selfie. So even before the kind of prevalence of a phone in your hand, he had a camera and he was taking this. So he is an artist. It's part of the deviant art, but he just took photos, and he has books about taking these photos. And there's a documentary about him on HBO Max. He's friends with Epstein. They're sending emails to each other. And he's also interested in like African totems, some of which I don't know what they mean. I'd have to kind of decipher them. But sometimes those totems they have kind of a sinister edge to them.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes they're like gods and things like that.
Yeah.
So
No matter where it's from, it could be from Eskimos or whoever. It's all the same thing. There's a demon behind the statue, and sometimes they'll hear the voices talk to them.
Well, there you go. So this guy's maybe, I mean, this is like another avenue of further research for me, or maybe somebody in the chat or you. But like here, you'll see a picture of him holding one of these totems. Like, whoa. And he's from a rich, wealthy family. His dad was like an executive for one of the car companies in France. And it's if you move forward.
Yeah. Give me a second here.
It's all over the Google. Like you can Google his name, Jean Pigozzi, and just picture page after page of pictures with him with celebrities just come up on Google. Like we could do it right now as an experiment. I'll see if I can bring it up. But I think he's interested in this African art of these African totems may be a huge tell.
Yeah, because whether it's charms, totems, and a few other items, they're pretty much all the same. Whether it's for supposed good luck, or the demon, or the gods they worship to bless them and bring them good tidings and money or whatever, and of course there's always some sexual thing involved with it as well.
Well, that would make perfect sense and put him right in there with Epstein. So this is just a casual search through Google, and you'll see him with Jerry Hall and Mick Jagger. That's the same picture I just showed of him. If you see that, he wears these floral shirts, and these are kind of him with famous people.
Yeah.
This is Mel Brooks. I don't know who that is. This is an actress. I forgot her name. That's Hilton, right? Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger. Looks like a high society photographer or some celebrity.
Clint Eastwood.
This is the book that came out recently was Me and Co. The Selfies, 1972, 2016. But here he is just in the art world. Like there's pictures of him. He seemed to be one of those people who showed up at all these like red carpet things and like art shows and things like that. Here he is with Bono. He took a picture of Bono and Jack Nicholson. Let me see if I can find him with some of his artwork.
I can see why a lot of these guys like him, because a lot of them are into that whole theosophy, and also known as the New Age,
Right.
Birds of a feather.
This is him with this is the guy who started Microsoft. This is not Gates, but the guy with Gates started it. I think he passed away, but I can't remember his name. Also a billionaire. This guy's areas with Woody Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find pictures of him with African art. African art. I think I do have a picture of him with a totem somewhere in those slides.
Okay.
African totem.
I have a book that explains some of this stuff too. Very much about the charms and the totems and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could find it, but
Paul Allen, Blues John, thanks. Yeah, that's Paul Allen. That's the second guy after Gates was Paul Allen in Microsoft.
oh, okay.
But he's all over the place. Here he is with the totem. There you go.
Uh-huh. And these guys are very proud of their idols, I'll tell you that much. God
Question, and there's the mask in the background, right? Like
yes, yeah.
So somebody tell me what that totem is and where it's from and what tribe or whatever, but he seems to hold that up as if he knows something like that.
Yep.
We don't. And that's the whole thing about the esotericism or occultism is like, oh, that's just African statues. Like, no, that is the god,
Exactly.
blank or whatever. And he looks over me and I've communed through him. And there's a famous picture of Obama with the totem like this at one point in his younger days, if you remember.
I think so. I think I remember.
These are just screenshots. I mean, Lady Gaga, who's kind of notorious friends with Abramovich.
Yeah.
Hunter S. Thompson, there's rumors about that dude. These are just screenshots I took from back in the day. Pele. Like, he had entree to all these people. Like, Pele's a freaking mega superstar.
Yeah.
Or was. Like, he was, like, heroic in my childhood.
Somebody said Andy Warhol.
Yep.
I'm trying to find this thing.
Belushi. There he is with Ratner, who's all over these guys, Epstein, and Ratner's picked. I think Ratner was the guy who directed the new Melania documentary. So,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So there he is with Picozzi. So this is just an interesting additional artist around this guy, around all these guys.
Yeah.
Here's with Hilton in 2017. Paris Hilton. Catherine Deneuve. There he is in Epstein's book. 8 phone numbers.
Huh.
So he's in the circle. This is another guy, Jeff Koons. I would say it classifies as a transgressive or deviant artist. And he did have a relationship with Epstein for a little bit, like for a year or something like that. So there is a connection. It's not a huge connection.
Yeah.
But he like pictures of 11 anuses and weird. 11 is the number of magic.
Oh, I got a side note. I always got these side notes. When you do the anus thing, right? Do you realize? I don't know if you ever, if it ever came to mind, but a lot of these AI logos look like buttholes.
Nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me these days.
What's the name? What's the guy that plays in Ozark?
Bateman?
His sister was the first one to point it out.
Interesting. His sister posts a lot on X. She's kind of like
he's pretty based, man.
Yeah, she's based. I think so. She's pretty much like done with the Hollywood stuff.
Yeah.
I think she went through it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, Koons has a relationship with Epstein, a lot of pedophilia type art. Made in Heaven, where they're like engaged in sexual graphic stuff. I can't figure out this. This is kind of an interesting one, but that's Epstein with some person I haven't identified. But this artwork is about like druids or something. It's about these women in France or something. And it's a remarkable piece. They're all making kind of weird faces to me.
Yeah.
The Gallic Woman, episode from the Roman invasion is what it's called. The artwork illustrates a scene from the siege of Gergovie, where Gallic women are depicted insulting the Romans during Julius Caesar's conquest of Gaul. It's in the Musée d'Orsay in Paris.
13 by 21. Massive. Oh, there goes that freaky.
This is the great finish, guys. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. So here it is. If we remember this from the the Podesta emails, right?
Right.
This is called the Arch of Hysteria. Well, what's weird about the Arch of Hysteria is Jeff Epstein seems to know this posture and likes to take pictures of. This is, I think, a man, but he liked women in this freaking posture, this pose.
Yeah.
This is very graphic. Like I X'd it out.
Yeah.
But this is a woman. It's in the files. I don't want to show it to you. I give you the EFTA numbers. This is a known picture at the Hell Ranch. So for this one up on the wall, she's holding a knife, and it's a picture. Some people have thought Jeffrey Dahmer influence, right? Somebody says thought that this is a depiction of Ghislaine. It looks like her, but she's holding a knife. And then this is a real woman on a chair in the Arch of Hysteria, and that's a knife on her stomach. And it's super graphic. Like I took out the body parts, but the original super duper graphic. Isn't that weird? But that's not it. That's not the only one. He liked to take pictures like this.
Interesting. I mean, I know that this pose is also in yoga, but of course, yoga means yoking with the spirits, the gods of Hinduism and all this stuff. But I would assume, based on Dahmer and whatever else, that this is more sinister than that.
I would think so. And this is two women. It's been redacted, but you can see the one woman in the front and then the hair of the woman in the back, kind of the opposite. One's head is south and one is north, so to speak.
Yeah.
But kind of odd. Like,
yeah, why
these are all redacted. Yeah.
Why is this pattern there?
Yeah. I have to go back through and draw more of these pictures out from his files, but I recollect this isn't the only time that these were taken in Epstein. This one, there's like 5 other instances of this that in the Epstein files that reflect the Arch of Hysteria. So what do they know that we don't? And by the way, Tony Podesta's wife, she looks like a full witch, man. I'm not saying she's a witch, but she has super pale skin and super dark hair.
Yeah.
You see her? Like,
yeah,
she's
yeah. Like one of those vampires from Resident.
Yeah. Maybe that's an orgy position. Somebody says that in there.
Yeah. Here goes what I referenced earlier. This person, two witnesses, whatever. You got a long name. They say that is a yoga position, basically Raja Yoga, practiced by Jane Wolfe when she joined Crowley in Italy.
Makes perfect sense. One of the odd things that happened in all these pictures, this is Epstein taking video. But one of the things is, like, I think that's a baby picture of Epstein up there on the left. And those are all, what do you call it? Framed pictures of like famous people they know. But in the front, there's 2 people like almost in a Christian outfits bowing at him with a prayer beads. Do you see that on the right?
Yeah.
So like, it's almost like there's a Christian motif bowing in front of like bowing in front of Epstein. You see that? I mean, that's the way. I'll have a closer up of that.
Yeah. And there's something mystical about the whole prayer bead thing, and I can't remember what it is. Something. Even Hellboy carries the prayer beads.
Right. So, I mean, I have a closer up picture. I didn't add it to this set. Unfortunately, I forgot. But it is there. And this is definitely Epstein's desk. He always had pictures of glasses. He's either looking at
Yeah.
porn or that's a picture of what's in front of him. I don't know.
Yeah.
On the screen. And there's a closer up of these two. Those are two figures, a man and a woman bowing over. It could mean something else. I have no idea, but I just think it's like odd. It's just like another oddity.
Right.
But one of the School of Visual Arts is where David A. Ross, that's the guy who's talking about statutory, and that was it. And that's the thing. The other thing that connects Epstein to a lot of stuff is the Interlochen Center for the Arts, which is like this kid's school that he donated over $500,000 to over time and attended while he was a kid. And that's an elite Michigan arts boarding school. And so that was another one. And then the New York Academy of Art, he was like around there. So he's around these arts and philanthropy and stuff like that. So the next set will probably include Interlochen stuff, which I have.
Yeah.
And the MoMA stuff. But I have to go back. I mean, this is just kind of work in progress. But,
there's so many files to go through. It's like crazy. So
one of the things that he wanted was a piece of the Kaaba. Do you know what the Kaaba is?
Yeah, the Muslim thing in Mecca, and with the meteor, the supposed meteor, and they rub it like a woman's private part. Yeah,
it's in the files, guys. Like, this is incredible. And I have a description of the Kaaba, but like, he wants a piece of this. Let's see if I can bring it up.
Oh, and of course, it's a square which references Saturn, and their actual Allah is actually a moon god. I can't remember his doggone name, but ultimately Satan. Okay,
that's why they have the moon on all their flags.
Right.
And their calendar is based on the moon, guys. It's not a Western calendar.
Yeah.
And this is literally, you can see the EFT number, EA number on this. And the Kaaba is where they circle around it. They kind of like do it. That's what they do on the Hajj, right? They go to Mecca, Medina.
Mm-hmm.
Then he has all the verses and stuff. Like, this is something Jeff knew. This piece is part of the Kiswa exterior, which covered the Kaaba, and it was covering the Kaaba for 1 year. People touch it and pray while their hands are on it.
Right. And you see how they say they touched and prayed? It's more sexual than that, guys. You got to read up on this stone, this supposed meteor stone, with the silver looking vajayjay around it. Read up on that. You'll see what I'm talking about.
So this is something that is clearly in Epstein's files. I assume he saw that. And then we'll go to this other one. So this is incredible stuff. So this is like religious art again. So it's not just Christian. He's interested in this Muslim type art. So this is another one. And we can start from the beginning. Do you want to read that first? Can you read that? Are you able to read that?
Give me a second here. I gotta go back.
You have to enlarge it. It says Dear Daphne. This is from 2017.
What page is that?
It's not on this. It's not on the slides. It's only on the screens.
I can't hardly see that. Let me see if I can.
He writes to something. It's Abdullah. He's writing to Daphne, who Daphne Wallace, I think is his sidekick.
Greetings, Abdullah. I'm well. Thank you for asking. The only issue we encountered last time with U.S. Customs is not having a genus and species of the date palms for the baskets and mats which you provided after. On the invoice, the more details you can provide, the better. Remember that the value of the goods must be in U.S. dollars. Kindest regards, Daphne. Want me to go further?
Yeah, no, read the one before that. So it's like it's an inverse progression. Okay. So the one
I hope all is well. As per instruction of Aziza, we will ship some pieces of the Kaaba for the mosque. In the attached file from page 2 to 4 will be the actual pieces you will be receiving, and explanation of each was added. I would like to know before we ship it, is there any issues we'll be faced with the customs if we to these to these stuff? That's what it says. That's kind of weird. Or shall we send with anyone who is going US? Please advise. Please let me know if you need any further information. Thanks.
Right. So Abdullah is writing to Daphne. She responds, but he's literally talking about we will ship some pieces of the Kaaba.
Yeah,
and that was the attached piece there.
Mhm.
And then he writes, Abdullah, we will provide you the needful information of the shipment. I'll let you know once we shipment. Dear Daphne, shipment is ready to send. Where are we sending it to? West Palm Beach. That's the broker.
Mhm.
And LSJ LLC. Little
Uh,
St. James LLC.
yeah.
And Karina Shuliak is his girlfriend at the time. And if I think in the earlier set, I had a picture of Jeff with Karina Shuliak, right? Do you remember that up on the wall?
Mhm.
She's kind of staring at him. So she's involved in this, and Etta Rodriguez is one of their like assistants or something like that. But they're literally going through like a specific, like all the details of, I think, shipping a piece of the Kaaba from Saudi Arabia to freaking the US. Greetings of Abdullah. Thank you. I'm copying Chalmer on this email. Chalmer, we are now receiving a Kaaba from Saudi Arabia. So it's either a Kaaba or a copy of a Kaaba, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It too is destined for LSJE on St. Thomas, just like the tent. They sent a thing of the Kaaba, either the literal Kaaba or a depiction of the Kaaba. I don't know. I'm assuming it's real. I don't know. They sent it to St. Thomas, to the freaking pedophile island.
Crazy.
And Abdullah, is that crazy? Correction on my part. We are not receiving the Kaaba. We're receiving 3 pieces from the Kaaba. Of course, they're not sending the whole thing, but maybe they chipped off a piece. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was, I mean, this is all in line with this stuff. Massacre of the Innocents and the Gates of Hell.
Yeah.
That he's collecting these pieces from all over. So there's wooden frames. That's why they're trying to get the genus or the species for customs.
Yeah. And it's clear here that I mean Muslims are not going to allow you to just desecrate their little cube there.
Right.
So how far is Epstein reach to get this?
Wow. Like he's literally, there's a picture of him with MBS, right? So Mohammed bin Salman, who was the new king of Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
But go figure that. That's basically my presentation. That's my full part 1 and part 2. There's a lot more, guys. I need to expand on the Bagozi guys and Bagozi art and the totemic art that he trades in. And there's just other little pieces and things that I missed that I should put in. But I mean, I could literally do 8 or 10 hours. And I think it's really important to like see this aspect of Epstein because it puts him in the international. It shows his fastidiousness and his tastes. Like he's a man of style and taste, like the song says.
Yeah.
And his connections and his ability to get things. If he's actually getting a piece of the Kaaba, like we're on another planet, dude. We're on somewhere else.
Oh yeah. I just want to bring this up real quick because I know we didn't discuss astrology and all the things connected to Epstein in that sense, but since we brought up like the totem and all this stuff, this is from Masonic Occult Symbolisms Illustrated, and it says
you sent me this, right? You sent me this.
Yeah. The World Book Encyclopedia accounts during ancient times there was wide belief in occult sciences. The best known of the occult subjects included astrology, alchemy, necromancy, and magic. Under astrology, we find judicial astrology in is the astrology of today. It was and still is closely related to pseudosciences and superstitions such as palmistry, numerology, and the use of charms and magic, as I said earlier. Related articles on the magic include astrology, clairvoyance, divination, evil eye, exorcism, hypnotism, necromancy, shamanism, or shaman and a witch doctor, or who is a witch doctor, telepathy, trance, voodoo, and witchcraft. Nat Friedland, the occult explosion, in the occult explosion, writes that astrology is clearly the most important part of the occult explosion. He also says the greatest common denominator of occultism in the United States is astrology. In the astrology column, the treasure of witchcraft states, stemming from the black arts and involving goetic premises, assuming the techniques and conditions of occult practices are alchemy, divination, astrology, and Leviathan. Goetic magic, by the way, is black magic or sorcery. Mason Kenneth Mackenzie says that Goetia is the term for black magic in contradicts the distinction to Theurgia, I think that's it. I don't know, or white magic. The powers of darkness were invoked in the system with horrible rites. And I'll just read this last part here. One book explains the Goetic circle of Pax like this: symbols play a vital role in infernal conjuration. The Goetic circle of Pax, drawn by Eliphas Levi, is in the 19th century is supposed to be used when the sorcerer is to make a pact with the descendant hierarchy. The three circles in the center are the standing positions of the sorcerer and his apprentice. The skill must be from a parricide. And the horns from a goat, the bat must have been drowned in blood, and the black cat, whose head is placed opposite of skull, must have been fed on human flesh. So there's some correlations there to what we just went over. For those seriously paying attention, I mean, you want a piece of the Kaaba that goes directly back to astrology, meteor rocks, the moon god, and a couple other things we covered earlier.
100%. 100%. It's like a flex too, an art flex and an occult, or maybe that's his whole thing, is like he's really a heavy duty occultist and he wants to have power over all this iconography from traditions, not just Christianity.
Right.
So also Muslims.
Mhm.
And one of the interesting things, not a huge tell, but like when he was arrested first, he fled to Israel. So he had enough like Jewish ethnocentrism to go there, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
also like on his computer, I kept seeing the tab for the Jerusalem Times. And so that was on his like thing to read. Like, so like I read certain sites or X or something, but he was always reading the Jerusalem Times, which is also a tell.
Yeah. So interesting.
Somebody does have a question from the chat. Shape of Shadows. Do you want to answer this, Chris? I think I have an answer too.
Do you think people like Epstein were helped by a larger cabal that promote and practice the teachings of Thelema and or Corelli? I would say a definite yes. There's more people practicing Thelema than we think. And Thelema is actually a Greek word that really, I can't remember exactly what it means, but it's not
will. It means will.
Will? Okay. Yeah, so it's not this evil thing, but Aleister Crowley put this definition of his religion that he made on it. But it all goes back to Satan, Babylon. This where it all goes back to that. So with that information there, as it spreads out through our cultures, all cultures believe in the same thing when it comes to the dark arts. It's just interpreted another way from culture to culture. It's repackaged. So with that now, and you go into the secret societies and the people that have power to run things around the world, they're practicing this stuff like crazy, and especially numerology. I can't remember the name, the lady's name. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names, but it's one of these ladies in Europe, and there was this big convention around the time of COVID, and she said we all need to start practicing numerology. And I was like, what? Did I hear that right? I had to bring it back again, and it's exactly what she said. So yes, these influences in the global community.
So I have the same answer. Yes, I do think some are overt, but there's some kind of like esotericists and occultists. I think they're definitely not Christians. They wouldn't do this. I mean, actual
Right.
card carrying Christians. Like some of these Christians, it's kind of like writing orange on the side of a watermelon and then calling it watermelon orange. But like I think the indicators of just looking at Epstein or his art, particularly his behavior and all the people he was hanging out with, there's occultists around. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and you know, I know this is hard to kind of get or understand or fathom or whatever word you want to use, but some people believe that their artwork through alchemy is a manifestation of what they want to bring into the world. That's weird, right? That's what they believe.
that's exactly what Kenneth Anger said. Kenneth Anger said all of his art and all his films are bringing things, or rituals, bringing something into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's similar to what Abramovich said.
Yeah.
Blues John Traveler asked, what do you think about his relationship to the Sabbatean Frankists? Do you have any thoughts on that, Chris?
No, I don't.
I feel like that theme of the Sabbatean Frankists is that you sin a lot to facilitate the bringing of the Messiah, because it's said that there'll be like a lot of sin before the Messiah. So some of these people do that.
You're talking about Kabbalah. They want to raise up the Antichrist into the world through all of the destruction and chaos and whatnot. Adam Kadmon is his name. He's the false Adam, the false Christ. They want to bring the false Christ into the world. So that's kind of my take.
Thanks everybody for listening. We had 150 live listeners. Thanks for all the comments, chat. Really appreciate it. I'm basically done. I think that sums up. Maybe there'll be a part 3 if I do some more research. But you know, who knows what'll happen.
Yeah,
but there's a lot more research to be done. I really believe that.
Yeah, and guys, so please support both channels. You know, there's a lot of work going into this stuff, and it'll be nice. You know, we don't necessarily always ask for a donation or whatever, but hey, a tip would be nice, even if it's $1. Just support, spread the information, share the links, give it a thumbs up, and I don't know if you have memberships, William, but
a Patreon, pretty active Patreon.
Join the Patreon. I have YouTube memberships. I have Patreon. There's a lot of ways that you can support both of these ventures here. So again, but one of the number one ways, share. Thank you. And so you'll go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that's one of the things. Times are tough, but one of the free things you can do is just share. Like if you really like it, it increases ad revenue and it shows up on our bottom line if more people watch stuff. So I really appreciate that. Also, notifications. Some people are subscribers, but they don't get notified to Don't Let Them Burn or something like that. Then you can catch it live. You can ask questions. You can follow along. You can do research with us. Some of these guys who are listening to my show and Chris's are great researchers. They're adding stuff to what we're doing. I don't know everything. Maybe Chris, I've learned a lot. Like I would never know about Blink Twice, which I want to cover with Chris sometime in the future, without having a chat. So if you're interested in the stuff you like researching, don't subscribe and also get notifications. So
absolutely
recommend that.
Can't wait to see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to check out don'tletthemburn.com. You can follow me on Telegram. It's at Don't Let Them Burn Official. I'm on BitChute. I'm on Rumble, obviously YouTube, and sometimes on Facebook, but not that much. So again, just share, and don't forget, Christians out there, preach the gospel. That's the commission. That's the number one commission. And don't let them burn. And there we go.
Amen. Thanks for having me, Chris. Appreciate it.
No problem.